I didn't eat solid food for 10 days, and there were a few things I really didn't expect to happen.
It all started when I posted this on my Instagram story. Basically, I had been having smoothies every once in a while, and I didn't have that bad of a diet, but it wasn't amazing either. I'd have my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches almost every day. I'd have eggs, I'd have my bagel, I'd have burgers whenever I went out to eat, and I'd often come home feeling a little bit sick because I overate. Had vegetables every once in a while, so I was like, wow, I'm eating smoothies, this is great, I'm doing so great. And 𝗪𝗪𝗀 messaged me and he's like, bro, juicing has changed my life. He got over anxiety and depression and other mental health issues with juicing, and ever since he started juicing regularly, he saw those just disappear for him. And so I asked him, like, how many juices do you do per week at this point? And he's like, I usually do like 10 juices a week. So for me, that's a lot of vegetables. And I thought it was a little bit crazy. But he recommended the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and it was something that I was interested in, so I gave it a watch. And this documentary really changed the way that I thought about nutrition. It talks a lot about how the average American diet has way too much meat when the meat should be a part of your meal and not the main part of your meal. And so after watching that documentary, I realized that I was eating too much sugar. My meals didn't include enough vegetables, and I've heard so many people talk about how when they get into their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, just being healthy is something that they're just not able to do. It seemed to me that there's just so much apathy around health and fitness when it comes to people in that age category, or at least a lot of people in that age category. And I'm in my upper 20s, and I definitely don't want that to be the case for me, so I decided to make a big change.
And so I really wanted to do this juice fast, but the more I thought about it, the more doubts that I actually had. Like, am I getting all the things that I need in my diet this way? And as I talked to 𝗪𝗪𝗀, it was also really obvious that doing a 10-day juice fast was going to be extremely difficult. So I decided to get some help, and I got the program from Reboot with Joe and decided to follow their guidance while doing this program. It actually started with 5 days of just eating raw fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, basically plant products, to transition you into juicing. That way it's not you're eating brownies and ice cream and burgers and then suddenly going straight to juicing. That'll make you feel absolutely terrible.
So we'll talk more about the hard parts of the experience later, but let's get straight into the benefits. At this point, I literally just broke my juice fast, and this is the first meal that I had. And so one of the benefits that I'm seeing right away is a massive spike in how good things taste. During a lot of the juice fast, I kind of felt like I was going to want to go back to my previous diet, but now that I'm thinking about it and now that I've actually gone through it, I realize that it's going to be a lot easier to stick to much, much less sugar, if any at all, and things are still going to taste really good. Like, I just had this avocado toast and tomato with lemon on sourdough bread, and it just tasted absolutely amazing, vibrant, so good. And so I'm looking forward to being able to eat good foods because they actually taste pretty good. So some of the other benefits that I saw was that I was sharper mentally, I was able to sleep better, I had more energy, I felt less depressed and anxious, and eventually I felt less irritable. Going into the challenge, I thought I was going to be absolutely drastic with a lot of these things because that's kind of what you hear. For me, it was probably like a 10 to 15% boost in these things. But that being said, the main reason that I even wanted to do this in the first place is because I want good long-term health, and I thought that this would be the right challenge to catapult me into that. But now, let's talk about some of the hardest parts about this experience. The hardest part of this experience, by far for me, surprisingly, was, you would think that hunger would be the hardest part of this challenge, and for me, it actually wasn't. The hardest part of this challenge was the meal prep and actually understanding what I'm supposed to eat and the time that it takes to make all this stuff. So for the first 5 days, you're supposed to eat a plant-based diet only, and so that also included no sugar. And so I basically had to
make meals for myself that I had basically never made before, because usually I just make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or like eggs and cream cheese and bagels and just really simple stuff, and then I don't really think too much about what's in the dinners that we make together. And so that was the hardest part for me. And then on top of that, doing the juicing for 10 days of juice, that's 5 juices a day for 10 days, 50 juices, takes a really long time. Like, I had a couple sessions of 3 to 4.5 hours of just juicing, and that would make like 25 juices. And so it's really distasteful for someone who just wants to make a quick peanut butter and jelly sandwich to have to spend their entire Sunday afternoon making juice, and just like frustrated with how slow my juicer is, and having to go to the store and spend an hour looking for all these ingredients. It was pretty overwhelming and stressful, to be completely honest with you. So in hindsight, what I plan to do and what I probably should have done is delegate, kind of like in Amazon. Instead of spending like probably 8 total hours making juice for myself, it would have been much better if I had just paid up and gone to a site where you can purchase bulk juice for a juice fast. Yes, it's really expensive, but if you are an entrepreneur and you value your time and your sanity, this could be a good choice. And no, I don't have a link for them. I'm just reflecting on my own experience because it was really frustrating and took a lot of time. And so do you remember how earlier I said less irritability was a perk that I experienced from this? That was not a perk for the first 9 days of this challenge. So for the first 5 days, I was sugar-free with plant-based food. And then the last 10 days, I was sugar-free with juices made from fruits and vegetables. And so of course there's sugar from the fruits, but not added sugar. And so the first 9 days of this, I actually was much more irritable, and I think that was the main part of my sugar withdrawal. Going from having sugar on a regular basis to not having any sugar at all is a really difficult challenge for you. A lot of people have worse withdrawals than this. There'll be people who actually feel really sick not having sugar. And so I guess I was fortunate that irritability was my main thing that I had to deal with. So if you do a juice fast, be prepared for sugar withdrawals. And then there's the main downside that a lot of people see coming into a 10-day juice fast of not eating solid food. Eating food is emotionally enjoyable, and oftentimes when there's something that's difficult, when there's something that's challenging, we'll just turn to food and just have a little something. Even if it's not like binge eating or anything, it's still using food as an emotional solution to a problem. And so during this juice fast, I didn't really have that and started to break that habit that I've had for a really long time. Instead, what the program that I was on suggested to do in those types of situations is to just have a drink that you like that's healthy next to you at all times. So I chose coconut water, and I just had coconut water next to me almost all the time, so it was just a really easy thing to just grab on the side and take a sip of instead of having more food. And so after having done this challenge, I think doing a juice fast is a great way to level up your nutrition, but in the long run, it's not going to account to much if there aren't personal and permanent changes made. The immediate effects were good, but the effects that I was really looking for and continue to look for are increased health throughout the rest of my adult life, because I don't want to get to a place where I'm apathetic about my health and fitness and end up being someone who doesn't even enjoy their life because they can hardly walk. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to get to that point, but people do decline in health because of habits that they didn't form in the past. And those habits are easiest to form when you're actually healthy. It's a lot easier to get back on the right direction when things only went to the side a little bit, but when things are really bad, it makes it difficult to actually change the trajectory of your life. And so if you're into growing yourself like I am, and you like making money online, then this channel teaches you how to do that. It teaches you how to make money from home, and if you're interested in that and this video was helpful for you, then feel free to subscribe and like the video. It really helps get the message out so that other people can improve their lives. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and take care.